Catchers that are good receivers have more impact than many people realize. Up next, how to receive an outside pitch from a left-handed pitcher to a right-handed batter. This is a video I wanted to make for some time, but never had enough video footage to demonstrate its effectiveness. As you know, this channel is for youth baseball. That's 13 and under, so why the College World Series footage? Because this is the only place I found footage of this technique. The technique involves receiving an outside pitch thrown from a lefty pitcher to a right-handed batter. The same can apply for the reverse, right-handed pitcher to a lefty hitter, but it's not quite as easy on that side. During this game, the second game between Oregon and Arkansas in the championship series of 2018, we have this umpire setting up in the slot as most college and above umpires do. Now, youth baseball umpires typically stand behind the catcher, which makes this less effective. It does work best with umpires that are in the slot, but it can still apply to any umpire. What we are focusing on is the outside pitch and getting a pitch that is a ball called a strike. With the umpire in the slot, you're very unlikely to ever steal an inside pitch as it's directly in front of the umpire's vision, so the catcher shouldn't even try. If you know it's a ball, just catch and return. Let the umpire know that you're not there to make him look bad. This also builds trust between you and the umpire. I'm first going to show you a series of pitches to demonstrate the calls that were made, and then stick around because I'm going to tell you exactly how the catcher is making this happen and how you or your catcher can as well. So here are the pitches off the plate called balls earlier in the game to this same catcher. This is their right-handed pitcher throwing to both a righty and a lefty. The first pitch to the right-hander is really close. Might have been a strike, but borderline. Remember this batter because we see him 2 more times in this video. Now the second pitch is to the lefty inside, right in front of the umpire's face. So we know this is where his zone is. This to him is not a strike. Again, pay attention to this batter because he too will return in our clips. So those are 2 pitches from a right-hander that are called balls. And now with the lefty pitcher, there are 4 pitches off the plate called strikes. 4. That's huge in a game like this. Here is the first pitch, and notice who is up to bat, and remember, he didn't swing at that outside pitch called a ball earlier. But watch this one. This pitch changes this entire at-bat. The next pitch is outside as well, one he probably wouldn't have swung at, but he's got that last call in his head, so he can't risk it. Instead of being a 3-1 count, he's at a 2-2 count. Looking back at this game, an argument could be made that this single strike that the catcher, and the catcher alone, earned changed the outcome of this game. This next batter was also in our earlier example. This is him hitting on the left side taking this pitch. Here now he is on the right side hitting, and watch what he takes that gets called a strike. Now the opposing team's catcher is up, and no one knows the zone better than the guy behind the plate. Let's see what he gets. Let's go back to Mr. Number 8. Did he learn anything?
Another 3-2 on the way to Eric Cole. Yeah! Called strike 3.
Nope. But here's the thing. Both of those last 2 were in the same inning. The catcher was one of them, which leads to our series on youth baseball strategies, one of which is umpire management. A video coming soon, so hit the pause button and subscribe and click the bell so you don't miss it. You see number 8 already saying something on his way back to the dugout. Don't tell me our Arkansas catcher didn't have a conversation with Mr. Blue in the top of the 7th while behind the dish as well. Finally, we return to our number 17 in the next inning for the 3rd time, and let's see what happens. They do not get the call this time. I'm thinking the umpire accepted that he was missing those calls earlier in the game in favor of our catcher, or at least being made aware of it. He worked a little bit harder this time. But Oregon did get 4 of them, so they shouldn't complain now. So how did our catcher, Mr. Rutschman, get those calls? And why do we give him the credit and not the pitcher? Well, the pitcher obviously hit his spots, so that is to his credit. But the strike on the obvious ball goes to the catcher. With that outside pitch from a lefty to a righty, we have an interesting problem for our umpire. He does not have a legitimate reference point to judge whether the ball is going to end up on or off the plate. Therefore, in many cases, he is guessing whether the pitch is a ball or a strike. Here is the umpire's view with an ump cam. It does not show exactly what the umpire sees, but unless you want to stand back there yourself,
Ouch.
then this is the best we can do. I'll show you a random pitch in real time. A pitch I saved just for this part of our video. Get ready and get close to your screen or TV because it's going to happen fast. What I want you to do, and I'm not telling you ahead of time if this is a ball or strike, is to see this ump cam video and call this pitch. You have 1 second after you see the pitch, just one time, in real time, to make your call without slow motion or replay. No cheating. Ready? In 3, 2, 1. What is your call, Blue? If you're the honest type, put your call in the comments below, whether you're right or wrong. Now, here is that exact same pitch from overhead. So did you get it right? You should have said ball. But that pitch is really hard to gauge as an umpire. If you have umpired for some time, you know exactly what I'm talking about. As a catcher, we can use this knowledge to our advantage in 2 ways. 1, if we're trying to get ourselves a strike called a strike on a put-away pitch, our catcher can open up his stance by bringing his left shoulder back and his right shoulder forward to give the umpire the best possible view to make the right call. If it's a strike, we don't want him guessing. We want him to see it. Now the second option is when we want to get a ball off the plate called a strike. In this case, the catcher does not want to open up. The ball will be called a strike more when the catcher does not give the umpire the best view and receives that ball in the center of his body without a lot of body movement. He can also catch that ball in the web of his glove, so more of his glove is over the plate. But one must be careful with this because trying to catch the ball at the end of the glove and missing it is not only giving up a possible strike, but makes the catcher look bad, especially if a runner advances on a pass ball. Understanding this, let's see how Mr. Rutschman gets these called strikes. First, he gets the calls for this reason. He understands how the umpire sees the pitch as we discussed. We'll look at these as still frames so you can see more clearly. Look at the catcher in this shot. This is as the ball enters the glove. His stance is closed off to the umpire. He is blocking a clear view to that pitch. He is out front to get that pitch before it provides more feedback to the umpire. He caught the ball at the end of his glove, which puts more of his glove over the plate. He is strong enough to keep the glove from being pulled out of the zone. He also, just slightly, but not too much, moves his glove a little bit further towards the zone. Not over-framing, but just an inch or two. This is next level receiving here.
Fairly similar location to Bonfield, the DH. Grounded into a fielder's choice his first time up. He's a senior. And that second called strike set up that swing.
Absolutely it did. Made him start looking away, and he expanded. As a hitter, once you get out of your comfort zone and start doubting the umpire behind the plate, you start chasing pitches out of the zone. And 2-2 count. Luke Bonfield chased a pitch out. Watch where this pitch was right here. This was the 2-1 pitch. It would have been 3-1 instead. Now it's 2-2. That's called a strike. Then on the 2-2 pitch, he expands. No chance, as it was elevated also.